Hi everyone and welcome to another video from DisplayRepair.com. In this video you'll see the typical consequences of a leaking heater core and how cleaning up the huge mess it causes usually looks like. The work you'll see here is done on an older Renault Clio. It's a great example for showing the basic principle of what you'll have to do. The whole process is more or less the same for any car you drive. This video should give you a good idea of what lies ahead of you. So stay tuned. DisplayRepair.com. Be sure to visit us at our website DisplayRepair.com, where you can find more useful car and driving tips. If you suspect that you have heater core problems, we recommend you watch our other video where we show the most common symptoms of a bad heater core. Perhaps the video will help you notice the problem on time and avoid all of this. Click the card in the corner to see the video or the link in the description. The consequences. The usual consequence of a heater core leak is a massive spill of coolant into the passenger cabin. It can happen slowly by leaking, which is a better option since it leaves you time to react and the spill may not be that serious. The other case, like what happened here, is when the heater core suddenly ruptures and causes a huge spill. Sorry to say, but we only have a few photos of the immediate aftermath of the spill. Such was the situation. What happened is that the front and rear footwells were completely flooded, the carpets and the floor insulation was soaking wet. We took everything out, the carpets, insulation and else, and thoroughly washed and dried it. Of course, previously the old heater core was replaced. In the meantime, the seats, trimming and center console were returned so the car could be used and driven in the meantime. The rest of the story you'll see starts from there. We would recommend, before starting the job, to take off the minus clamp on the battery. In most cases, this is not necessary, but it is a good safety precaution. Removing the seats. We first started by removing the seats. On the Clio, the nuts holding the seats are reached from the floor, which is not common. In most cases, the screws and nuts holding the seats are reached from the passenger cabin. When removing the seats, and this goes for whatever car you drive, watch for the electrical connectors under the seats. Don't forget to disconnect them so you don't accidentally damage the wiring. Remove plastic trimming. After the seats, we removed the seat belt anchors and the plastic trimming. You have to do this to be able to put the carpet into place. Have some patience here. Don't tear or force the plastic panels so you don't break them, or you don't break the plastic clips holding them. Also, you should watch the electric installation under the plastic panels. Clean the floor panels. When the carpet and the floor insulation is out, it's a good opportunity to clean the floor panels and the interior from leftover dust and filth. Use a vacuum and some cloth to do this. Luckily, in this case, there was a helping hand for the job. Returning the carpets and the floor insulation. Once everything was cleaned up, it was time to return the carpets and the floor insulation. Here's one more time how it all looks when everything is pulled apart. It will probably be the same situation for whatever car you're working on. First, we put back the insulation. We had to be careful since it tears pretty easily. It's important to have some patience here and possibly have a helping hand. When two people are doing the whole job, it is much easier and faster. It's the same situation for the carpets. They usually come in two pieces. watch how you put them back as one piece overlays the other. Of course, be careful to fit everything properly in place. Watch that you don't pinch the electric installation accidentally, and above all, don't force anything into place. You must have patience. After this, we vacuum the carpets once more to keep everything clean. Returning the plastic trims and seatbelt anchors. Next, we returned the plastic trimming on the door sills, returned the rubber door seals, the lever for opening the hood, and else. Again, with this kind of job, take your time, watch that everything sits in place, and don't pinch the cables with the trim panels. Have in mind that trim panels usually have a certain order for returning. Oftentimes one panel overlaps the other, so consider this when returning them back into place. Returning the center console and parts of the interior trim. Now it was time to put back the other parts of the interior trim. In case of the Clio, it was the plastic around the handbrake lever, a plastic tray under the seat, and the center console. On the Clio, everything is pretty straightforward and without any major complications. On the majority of other cars, especially the modern ones, it's the opposite. The handbrake plastic and the tray are held with a couple of screws, and that's it. The center console took a bit of fiddling around until it sat in place. In these cases, watch the electric wiring, that you tuck everything into place properly, and that you don't accidentally pinch anything with the console. Also, make sure you properly tighten everything so there are no squeaks afterwards coming from the plastic trim. Dobra. Returning the seats. After this, return the seats. We'll first return the back seat. With the Clio, it's really easy. You just have to put two hinges in their slots and push the seat in place. Then return the front seats. As mentioned, tightening the nuts that hold the seat in place is done from under the car. In most other cars, the nuts or screws are more accessible. In this case, if you're doing this on a Clio, don't forget to return the rubber caps where the access holes for the nuts are. finishing the job. For the finale, give everything one more check that everything is tightened, does everything work, and that everything is well put into place. Insert the floor mats, put on the seat covers if you had them, and put everything back in order. Once you're done, and if you can, do a test drive to check that everything is okay and that there are no problems, and above all that there are no squeaks or weird sounds. After a couple of days, roll the floor mats back and check that the carpet is nice and dry and that everything is okay. So there you have it. It's not that bad of a job, especially if you know your way around cars and repairs. How bad the job will be depends on the car you're working on. The Clio is very good and user-friendly, so to say. There are not many complications when doing this, making this job pretty much a walk in the park. For some cars, especially the modern ones, it's much more complicated and demands a lot more painstaking work in most cases. If you have a car like this, better make a good estimate if you're able to do the job to avoid getting into trouble or causing damage. But above all, pay attention to your car, notice the bad heater core symptoms on time, and it will probably never get to this. If you do this, instead of all this work, since the coolant spill will be small, a cloth, some sponge, and a couple of minutes of your time will solve this whole problem. So that's it for this time. We hope the video helps. Please like and subscribe. It's a huge help for what we're doing. Thanks for watching and thanks for your time.